Hello. Welcome. Hey, sorry. Sorry it's taking too long. Happy to see you. Welcome. How are you all doing? How's everyone doing out there? Is anyone in the Midwest United States suffering from that cold front? Freezing? Anybody? My guess is yes. Oh man. Happy to see you. Welcome, everybody. All right, just give me another minute. We're getting everything fired up, everything turned on. It's not a simple thing to go live on 45 platforms. All right, we got TikTok, we got Instagram, we got YouTube, we got Kick, we got Twitch, we got Facebook, we got all the different folks hanging out with us this morning for some relationship questions. That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about relationships, here to talk about romance. We're here to talk about how to have that intimate connection in a way that feels authentic, in a way that feels real, in a way that feels intimate and safe. And so often I think the feeling is like, man, I wish I could reach out to my partner. I wish we could have kind of that dream relationship, but I feel so hesitant in bringing up the conversation. I don't know how to navigate the conflict in a way that actually results in us feeling closer and better and not further apart. And when I just swallow my words, or I just try to not start a fight or not bring it up, I end up feeling more and more far away. It's like every conflict that we avoid feels like this brick that I lay on top of this wall that keeps getting higher and higher and higher between us. And so what I want to do is I want to take some questions today, folks who called in. If you're interested in leaving a voice note and leaving a question for me to address, you can jump on speakpipe.com/Matthias. And you can find that in the link in my bio, on my socials, or in the description underneath. Again, that's speakpipe.com/Matthias. And would be happy to hear what's going on in your world. You could submit a question. But let's just dive in, shall we? We have some folks who left questions, and they could use some help. Let's see what we have here.
I'd like to remain anonymous, but I have an issue with tone. My husband tends to, as he says, speak with affliction, and that's how he speaks, and he can't help it if I take that poorly. And I've expressed to him that it makes me shut down, and its conversation isn't healthy, and it creates animosity for me. I don't feel that it's respectful when he says I've changed, which I absolutely have. We now have 2 children, one being a little girl. So tone is huge for me. And I feel he needs to work on his tone and be consistent with it, because I don't like the way I'm spoken to when I'm bringing something into his attention, such as I need help with the laundry a bit more. I need help here. I need help there. It's always defense. It's always poor tone. And this also trickles over into how he speaks to my children. And I will always come to their defense, especially my daughter. She's 3.5, and tell him, that wasn't appropriate. That's not how she should be spoken to, because it's important to me that she understands that people can speak to you with respect and properly. And just because he's frustrated or lacking patience, that doesn't justify his tone in his response. And I struggle with that. He seems to think that's just how he speaks, and that shouldn't be a problem, but it is a problem. And I don't know how to get him to see that and make correction, because he doesn't feel it's an issue.
It's not tone, that's the wrong word. That's why he doesn't know what you're saying. That's my guess. It's his aggression, it's his anger, it's his harshness. It's the content of his tone, not just the frequency of his voice. And so when you say you need to watch your tone, he's thinking, hey, that's just how my voice sounds. I can't like talk in a different voice, and that sounds ridiculous, but that might be literally what he's thinking. He might be thinking, how am I supposed to change that? A different way to describe it is, hey, honey, you're being harsh with me. You're responding harshly. You're responding with anger. You're responding with irritableness. And he might say, as you said in your note, he might respond with, well, that's just the way I am. Get used to it. This is just how I speak. And I think that there's a pretty simple thing that you can respond to with there, which is, you're not a harsh person. That's not who you are. Who you are isn't harsh. When you speak to me that way, I feel scared of you. I know that you don't want me to feel scared around you. When you speak that way, it makes me uncomfortable. I know you're not wanting to make me uncomfortable. And then he might respond again. It's like, well, sorry if you're uncomfortable. Sorry if da-da-da-da-da. But again, that's just the way I am. And I wouldn't concede that ground. I would say, no, you're not harsh. You're sweet. You love me. You love our daughter. You love our family. And I know it's important to you that we feel connected to you. When you let your anger bubble up unrestrained, we feel far away from you. And this is something I need you to take ownership for and to work on. I want the content of what you're saying. If you're frustrated, if there's something that you think needs to change, if there's something that's happening with our daughter or with me that is rubbing you the wrong way, I don't want you to swallow that and just ignore that. I want you to tell me, but you need to tell me in a way that expresses your love. Because I can't hear it through your harshness. I cannot hear your heart. I cannot hear your desires. I cannot hear you through the harshness. The harshness blocks you, and that breaks my heart because I love you and I want to be close to you. And the harshness is getting in the way. Don't let the harshness rule you. You have the choice. Well, that's just who I am. That's a choice. Because I'm not attacking a part of who you are, I'm attacking a behavior. Our feelings, our beliefs, our personality, that's who we are, sure. How that's expressed through behavior is always maturing and growing and shifting. And we shift depending on the context. We speak with a different tone, level of assertiveness with our employees than we do with our daughter, than we do with our wife, than we do with our grandmother, than we do with our father, than we do with the boys. We are multifaceted, cultural, social creatures that have a wide dynamic range, not just an on and off switch of harsh and not harsh. That's how I'd respond to that. What do you think in the comments? Anyone relate to that? Have a partner? It's not just men. I think men and women can feel allergic to the harshness. What do you think? What's coming up for you? On TikTok, reading through the comments here. Reading through the comments. Someone says, someone in the chat, Pork and Beans 05 says, how do I bridge the gap between being seen, being self-aware, and then applying the change? I think what we do is we look for the underlying desire underneath, the unmet need, the desire for connection, the genuine concern, the feeling inside, and then we find out what is the best way to express that in a way that doesn't come out all spiky and harsh, that isn't dismissive, that takes good care of the other people in my life that need my care. So it's a matter of how, not if. It's not if I say something, it's how I say something. It's not if I pay attention to these feelings, it's how I express the feelings. The difference between if and how. Anyone relate to that? All right. Next question, yeah? What about on YouTube? Any questions on that front? This is good. Deb says, my spouse responds with automatic deflation. Oh, deflection. Sorry, I misread it. Deb says, yeah, sorry, I keep stumbling over my words. Deb says, my spouse responds with automatic deflection. Yeah, I think that deflection is often this feeling of when you critique me, that means I'm a failure. And then if I admit to wrongdoing, if I admit that I'm wrong here, then I'm handing you over another reason to reject me or to leave me or to dismiss me or to be unattracted to me. There's kind of this feeling of if I concede, if I take in the critique, then I lose you. That's what's underneath of so much of the defensiveness. And that is attached to this belief that I have to be this perfect thing. I have to be this good husband, good wife, pleasing wife, capable, strong husband, whatever it is. I have to be this. And if you critique that, that means I'm not this perfect image that I have in my head. And then that means, this is the belief underneath. They might not describe it that way, but this is the emotional architecture. That means I'm not worthy. That means I'm bad. That means I'm a bad father, I'm a bad husband, and it's like all the insecurity bubbles up. And so it's like this protection against all the insecurity. And then, Austin on TikTok says, and then they try to flip it on you, right? And it's like, you think I'm all the way down here, well, let me bring you down there. And it's this fear of, if I really am as terrible as you're making me feel, then I'm not worthy of love. That, I know, that sounds kind of heavy. I'm not trying to like read too much into this. I'm a couples counselor. I've done this work for years and years. And often underneath the bravado, defensiveness, anger of both men and women, on the point of defensiveness is a fear that if I'm not perfect, then you'll leave. If I'm not perfect, then I don't deserve love. And that makes you just allergic to criticism in a way that's so hard to navigate as a partner, because obviously we're all human. Obviously we grow. And the big surprise is that the more that I own my shortcomings, my points of immaturity, the more my partner trusts me and then actually wants to support, not take on, not train, not become a parent, but support me in my growth. And then as a result, they're happier, more intimate, and more attracted to me. So it's like the big surprise is the vulnerability, and the humility is actually what spurs on the connection that we desire, not the facade of perfection and strength that is not real. So that's what's underneath. I think that a way that you could phrase that to your partner, if you feel like, oh, that's me, how do I kind of say that, is something like, honey, I really want us to be close. All I want in the world is for us to be close. And I know that you see me. Instead of saying, I really want to be seen, I want to feel close to you, which can throw someone into threat, say something, I know you see me. I know you want to be close to me. I'm not bringing this up because I'm trying to attack you. I'm not trying to bring this up for any negative reason. All I want is to feel seen too. I know you care about how I feel. I think there's when you express it with those statements of faith, I know you care about how I feel. And I'm not trying to attack you. This is just really important to me. So to hold it back to the original questioner, when your tone becomes harsh, I feel far away. I know you don't want me to feel far away from you. I know that. Please, I need to hear the love that you have for me. And so I need you to take a breath when you're frustrated. And maybe to lay it out concretely, I need you to speak with me in a way that is soft, relaxed, calm, patient. Soft, relaxed, calm, patient. Okay? Good. Let's dive into the next question.
Hi, Mateus. I was wondering if you can help me understand if...
For all who are wondering, my name is pronounced Matthias. Matthias. Sorry, I'm not offended. You can call me Mateus. You could call me Mattias. You can call me Matthias. You could call me Marcus. I'll respond. But my name is pronounced Matthias.
Hi, Mateus. I was wondering if you can help me understand if there is any hope in being able to get through to my husband, who 2 years ago completely shut me out of his life because he didn't feel heard and he didn't feel that he could trust me. And while I have understood that and I have tried to make changes and have done my own coaching and my own healing to understand my own limitations and what was holding me back from being the wife that he wanted and needed, he has 100% laid everything on this is my fault and has not gone into any of the possibilities of where he contributed to our downfall. And we had a conversation last night where he basically said that. And over these 2 years where I have been growing and learning, I've learned and recognized a lot of the ways that he has let me down, that just continued in a cycle of him letting me down, me letting him down over and over. And I'm trying to break that cycle, but he doesn't recognize any of the efforts. He doesn't recognize any even possibilities that he has any fault in this. And he is very, very depressed. And I did confront him about his suicide comments that he's made. He did say that he would never do that, but he still talks about not wanting to be here and wanting something else to take him because it just seems much easier. And he is very depressed, and he 100% refuses any type of therapy. He does not believe in it. He said he is not comfortable.
Oh, I got cut off. Oh well. Getting a lot in the chat saying this is AI, like they think my camera quality is too high, and so they're like, this is clearly AI. That's the first time I've gotten that one. This is not AI. I don't know how to prove it to you, I guess, but you're just gonna have to trust me. All right, to the question. All right, we got a depressed husband who feels like his wife is not meeting his needs. He feels that there's almost just this big gaping hole of desire and need that the wife is not fulfilling. Here's something that folks with trauma histories are going to experience. I don't know the context of this couple. I haven't spoken to this guy, so I don't know his history. This is me just shooting in the dark here. But when men have, specifically men with emotional neglect, who either have very distant fathers and overly involved mothers, or that just have two parents that were both maybe very highly strict and unyielding in their standards. It's almost like you have this black hole in the bottom of your heart that will not fill up. And it's like this bottomless pit of need and desire. And a few different behaviors can come out for men in particular. Again, I'm shooting in the dark here. I'm not saying this about the person who asked. I'm just saying this is common. You have sexual neediness, where you deeply desire for lots and lots and lots of physical, intimate contact. And this in large part isn't just because you want to use your partner or just because you're actually I don't even think it's high libido. I think it is a desire to feel connected and to feel alive in a world where you feel numb, dissociated, bitter, betrayed, alone, and unworthy. And just for a few moments within that kind of physical connection, you don't feel that way. And so then it feels almost like a drug. And you act like it's a drug. And you respond in the similar needy anger and bitterness and vengefulness of an addict whose dealer will not give them their drug towards your spouse. Yeah. Because it's out of a deep place of need. So that's common. You also have other addictions that might pop up. Alcohol is a pretty common one. Alcohol douses loneliness, at least for a minute, and then it leaves you lonelier than it found you. So there's that. I think there's a general pattern of just kind of finding negativity and feeling like you're owed and entitled to your spouse's kind of undivided nurturance and affection and reassurance. And you kind of fall back from a mutual relationship where you're eye level, where you're adults, and you certainly fulfill each other's needs, but not in like a parental way where one person is in charge of all of your relational emotional needs, but some, maybe even a lot in a relational context. but you kind of have this all or nothing mentality. It's almost like it's their job to fill the void in you. And you might not say that, but that's what you feel. And my guess is if you have any self-awareness as the man in this situation, any self-awareness, this would create a lot of guilt. And so that there's usually a lot of inner conflict. It's like, I desire for you to fill this entirely. I'm mad at you when you don't. And I realize that is toddlerish behavior. That is immaturity. And then I hate myself for it because I can't change it. Anyone relate to any of that? And then it spins you into depression. And then your poor spouse, your poor wife is like, dang, I don't want to push you over the edge by rejecting your needs because you'll get depressed and I don't want you to unalive yourself. But at the same time, I can't be your mother and fill each of your needs like you're my baby. And I wouldn't say it like that. Gosh. What to do, what to do. Anyone relating to any of that? Yeah, TikTok, yes. Yes, on Instagram. Yeah. It's not an all or nothing solution either, because if you think, okay, you're the spouse with the bottomless pit partner, it's not just men, by the way, it can be women too. But if you have the bottomless pit partner, what you don't do is you shame them for it. You're like, I'm not here to be your mom. I'm not here to meet your needs. You need to go to da-da-da-da-da. Like if you make them the problem, it's going to spin them out into depression, as you've probably already found. And that depression actually slows down behavior that would help them. Like they don't like get kind of spurred up into action, and they don't go to therapy and then start exercising and stop drinking and do all the right things. Like, oh gosh, I should stop depending on my wife, to, I don't know, be my parent, and I should step into my own agency. Like they don't do that. Why? Well, because shame is a 10,000-pound weight. And I'm not saying it's your fault for putting shame on top. They have plenty of shame they're stacking on their own heart, and they're allergic to anything that even sniffs like shame, and they'll turn non-shaming statements into shame to put on their own heart. So they're plenty good at that themselves. I'm just saying don't double down on that, as much as it's within your control. But at the same time, you can't appease it and let it rule your life. You can't, it is a bottomless pit you can't fill. And they will get angrier and angrier at you the more you try to fill it. And then your needs actually go down the tank, because if you are like giving in every single time they ask for intimacy, every single time they need your attention, like you become their caretaker, you're going to get bitter, or you're going to get dissociated and numb, and then there's not going to be any like emotional resonance in the care that you're offering people. See more comments saying this is AI, this is AI. I'm not AI. Okay, all right, let's keep going. Sorry, get distracted. You're going to get bitter by being their caretaker, and if you're not bitter, if you suppress that down, then you're going to go numb, and then you're going to be like a robot. And there's going to be no emotional resonance, no real presence with them, because you're just surviving. Because the only thing you can bring emotionally into a relationship like that is fear. It's fear. So you're going to be bringing your fearful appeasement into that relationship, and they're going to be resentful to you for it. And then you're really going to feel like depressed. You're going to be the one who's depressed, because it's like, great, I tried to appease you, tried to give you everything you want, you're still not happy, and now you're mad because I'm not enthusiastic. That's the word they'll use. Not enthusiastic enough. And you're over here just like completely hypervigilant and overwhelmed by it all. Anyone resonating with any of that? What to do? You have to hold a space in the middle. Compassionate, kind, non-shaming, assertive, and firm. I am here to meet some of your needs, not all. That's the balance. Because you can't do I hear this so often. It's like, it's not my job to meet your needs. Like there's some idea of like, you need to meet your own needs. I can't fill that in you, that's you. And there's this idea that I see proliferated around the couples counseling world and like TikTok, that you're supposed to be completely like this self-sufficient thing. All your emotional needs are met with your own sense of security and confidence. And then your relationship with your partner is just the overflow of your own wellspring of health and aliveness. And I'm like, sounds good for you. If you can make that work, sweet. I hope that works for you. That sounds nice. For the rest of us, it's okay to have emotional needs. We are pack animals. We're creatures that connect with other people. And so it's normal to come to other people for reassurance and encouragement and to help with self-soothing and to help with regulation and to, like, yeah, someone in the chat on TikTok, it's like, it's partnership. Like, there's we're together in this. We keep each other afloat, but it's not the responsibility of your partner to meet those needs. It's like, you could think of it like, here, I can show you. Hold on. Let me get one thing. One sec. I got a thing. Shoot. Where'd it go? I have a prop. It's a good prop. I can't find my golden nuggets. Where's my golden nugs? Found it. Found my golden nuggets. Okay, hold on. This is good. You'll like this. All right. All right. Okay. Hold on. All right. So you have, let's say, this. Hold on. This will be good. I got my golden nuggets. Hold on. Stay with me. Golden nugs. These are your emotional needs, let's say. You have genuine emotional needs. The needs to be seen, cared for, and held, and loved, and soothed. The need for someone to scratch your head at night and just remind you that you're okay. Someone to draw you a bubble bath on a hard day. Someone to cook you a meal when you're sick. Like, these are genuine emotional needs of connection that you do need to have others fill. But it's your job. You're the steward of these golden nuggets, and it's your job to essentially wisely locate them to people who are trustworthy. They shouldn't all go just in one camp, right? That's not wise investment of your needs. You disperse it. So some of the way that you feel seen and encouraged and reassured is with your best friend, right? It's like you have a best friend. Some of your needs go there. Some of your needs for feeling challenged and powerful and strong, they go into your career, your job, or a hobby that makes you feel like you're making some progress. A way that you contribute, maybe in volunteering or in a nonprofit or in a church, or like there's some sort of civic shared thing. You get it. And then there's like your dog. You love your dog. And there's your barista. You love your barista. And then there's like your partner. And your partner does hold some of them. And I think that through life, you share some of your needs, you get met within your partner. And then sometimes there's seasons of life where you don't get a lot of needs met at all. Like, think about, not even just like in times of high conflict, but think about like if your partner got sick. This will happen to you later in your life. One of you will get really, really sick and will not be able to fulfill all the same needs they used to. Okay? They have cancer. They have Alzheimer's. And you're going to get very little met. That doesn't mean you just starve. That means that you need to take all of these needs, and some of them are going to be met with your children, maybe your adult children by that point. Some of them are going to be met with your faith community or with friendships. Some of them are going to be met by the kind nurses and the hospital staff and the chaplain or the people, a therapist that comes next to you and kind of helps you walk through that season. So it's like through life, you're kind of relocating and redispersing these emotional needs. And so when you have someone who has gone through emotional neglect, they're kind of trapped like in an earlier season of their life. And in that early season, when we were kids, all of our needs were met in our mother. When we were like, think about it, like little babies. Like little babies, it's like I nurse, I sleep, I regulate, everything is done through you. And so we are completely satiated in one person. And then we grow up as adults and we do something called differentiate. Some of those needs are met by dad, most of them are met by mom, ideally. And then as we grow up, some needs then go to our friends, right? Some needs go, and then increasingly in teenage years, more of our needs go towards friends, maybe even a romantic partner, but we still have a lot of it in mom and dad. And then adulthood is more and more so kind of growing and differentiating and individuating, and then we spread those needs out amongst different people. But some people, when they have high amounts of trauma, they still kind of have the old template of all of my needs are supposed to be met in one person. Does this make sense? And you, as an adult, if your partner's like that, you have to say, I can't be your mom. This is mom-like mentality. So what I can do is I can hold this. You have to figure out what to do with these. Like, I can see some of you, I can't see all of you. I can be there to reassure you, but not every second of the day. I can help you calm down, but not all the way. Like, it's like, I can help, not all of it, but I can some of it. Some people make the opposite error, and they're like, I can't help you at all. You gotta help yourself, dude. I'm here for entertainment, basically. That's like what that's saying. It's like, if you gotta help yourself, and I can't help you at all, and you gotta match all your own emotional needs, you and I, we're here for a good friggin' time. That's it, apparently. Like, turn on Netflix or be married. Like, I think that's a pretty low vision of relationship. I think, of course, there's genuine emotional needs, but we are the steward of those needs. And for you, because we haven't talked about you, if you're feeling like my needs aren't being met by my partner in this season of life, then you got to be honest. Like, okay, let's say that my partner is only a good steward of this much of my emotional needs. That's brutal, because you would like if he was a good steward of all this, all right? You want him to be a steward of that. He's really only competent to be a steward of that. You got to do something here. Because if you let all this just kind of build up and just kind of collect dust, that's where affairs happen. That's where addictions happen. That's where like getting shut down and numb and financial, missed decisions. Or you know what a lot of like people do is they put all this attention on their kids. They put all of this that wasn't met in their relationship onto their children. Ooh, I said it. They put all this energy, effort, and desire and needs into their son, into their daughter. And then the son and daughter is like, pushes them away. Whoops. And that's because this needs to be placed and dispersed among other places. It's okay to have some of your needs met in your kids. Can I just say that? That's actually normal. You're allowed to put some of your emotional needs in your kids. Like, part of what gives life vitality and enjoyment is connection you experience with your children. It's okay to delight in that. Okay, some of that's there. You need friendships. You might need a therapist. You might need a community, whether it's like a book club or your church, or like you need to do something with these needs so that during a season of your partner, not being able to hold a lot of it, you are okay. And then you decide, like, okay, if this never changes, is this still a relationship that I want to be in? Or am I going to say, okay, because you're holding the line at this capacity, I have to make different decisions for myself. And that seems to be the lay of the land, as far as I can tell. So, I think that practically what that means is that did you like my analogy with the gold nugs? I hope you did. For those listening, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm moving them into different piles. That's what I was doing. Yeah. I think practically what that means is that you have real conversations with them around what you can and can't do. And that you let them be in their suffering without rushing to fix. And if they point the anger at you, you're very firm. This is what I can offer, and this is what I can't. I want to be here for you. can't fix this problem for you. I want to connect with you. I can't connect as much as you're desiring. And here's a good way to explain it. It's especially for like, because in this context, it was a woman talking about a man. If the man if there's a tone of hypersexuality there, of like, oh, why don't we connect more? Why don't we, why aren't we intimate more often? And then it's not just like, well, I don't want to. It's like, I want to connect with you, not out of my fear, not out of obligation, but because I want to, because I know that the kind of emotional connection that you yearn for is my full presence with you. And so I want to connect with you, but when I have my full presence that I can invest. And there's times with my energy, times with the week, times with the kids, times in my cycle that I cannot bring my full energy, and it doesn't feel aligned for me to engage with you physically in that way. And I need you to respect that, because when you respect that, when you honor that, it makes me feel safer, it makes me feel loved, so that when it is time to bring that energy with you, it's satisfying for both of us. Good. What are your questions? There's some questions in the chat. What are you thinking on that one? Lindsay says, that was good. I'm glad. How can I save and listen to this again later? It'll be on YouTube. You can go to YouTube. It'll be there. Yeah, 777 Floors says, I haven't been able to talk about this with anyone. Thank you. Yeah, it's something I don't hear talked about very often. Yeah, it's very helpful. It's very helpful. Gold nugget. Yeah, good. Thanks. What questions do you have? Where does this line up for you? Yeah, so this is interesting. So AIRNARO2756 says a lot of these needs can be met by God, but there are some that we get met through spouse, kids, friends, family, and that's why God said it's not good for man to be alone, to let created a woman for him. Yeah, I think that for those of you who connect like on the religious level, I think that God meets our needs through other people, through some of these things on earth. It's not kind of like a third party, like he kind of like beams his emotional resonance into our hearts. It sometimes can be experienced that way. I think it's most often through the hands of those who care about us, if that's a thought there. This is great. Hope I can rewatch. Yep, it's going to be on YouTube. Someone says, you read me like a book. Well, I'm sad because it's a hard book, but there's hope in that book. What is a healthy proportion to be satisfied by the romantic partner? I mean, honestly, like as deep as you can possibly go where there's trust. I think that there's a blend of, I'm not putting the responsibility on you to meet all my emotional needs. I am sufficient to have my emotional needs met through multiple instances. And to the degree it is consensual, it is mutually beneficial and reciprocal and warmth, and it's building us both up, I think, like, don't hold back. Yeah. When it is mutually satisfying, keep going. And when there's blocks, you process them. And instead of getting resentful towards the partner for not meeting them, you get them met in the multiplicity of your relationships. As adults, we do disperse our needs amongst multiple relationships, and I don't think that means that we preemptively set limits on how deep we're supposed to go with our partners. That would be misunderstanding what I'm saying. Yeah, someone says, I understand what you're saying, but putting this into practice is really difficult. So the way you put this into practice is to start with friendships. You start with friendships, you start with a therapist, you start with engagement. You come to the table with a full cup, because if you have an empty cup also, you turning away your partner, who perhaps is codependent or not, is going to feel really burdensome and overwhelming for you, because then their rejection and anger towards you is going to be felt so much more personally. It's going to make everything more agitated. And so if you can come with a full cup, or at least a partially full cup, it's going to let you hold the kind of space that's going to allow them to realize, hey, they're setting a boundary, but they're not abandoning me, which is necessary. They're being firm but not unloving, not rejecting. They're not shaming me, but they are confronting me. Like those are the kinds of ways that we move in that circumstance. Yeah, how do I get my husband to talk about our broken relationship without him getting defensive and saying we're fine? Yeah, I would say I don't feel fine. And not fine because I am, again, like that the fear in touching some of the negative stuff is like, I don't want to make things worse. I don't want to ruin the good thing we have. I don't want to make a bigger deal out of things than we need to. But I think a gentle way of saying something like I would open with this line: I want to feel even closer. There's so much I feel sometimes like I'm holding back because I'm worried that you won't, I don't know. I just never want to aggravate you or put you out. I'm also sensing this feeling of really wanting to feel closer. And I know you want to feel closer too. I think following it up with that, when you say, I really want to feel close to you, but I don't, then it can set, people off. And they're like, crap, like I'm failing. But if you set I want to feel even closer, I know you want that too. I want to think about this together. Here's some of the things that I don't know what to do with. I need your help in figuring out what to do with these things. It's a gentler way. Of being able, instead of these are the things you're insufficient at, these are the things you're not doing right, these are all the ways you're failing, saying these are the problems I don't know how to reconcile yet, and I want your help. Oh, someone said I got cut off and I lost audio. Are we back? Let me know where I broke off there. Man, a lot of comments on the video. People are like, is this live? Is this recorded? I feel like I'm watching Netflix. Is this AI? I don't know how to convince you. AI is not that good yet. How about that? I'm reading through the comments here. Okay, sounds fine. Had no issues with sound. Okay, good. This is good. Okay, here. I see in the chat. Do you have a list of typical emotional needs? Here's the good news. The emotional needs are the same as they were with your parents. So they're attachment needs. Emotional needs in relationships are the same as attachment needs in childhood. Same highways and byways, just different cars traveling up and down. 3 needs, if you're taking notes, the 3 needs is to feel seen, safe, and soothed. That's Dan Siegel. I didn't come up with that. If he was to summarize all of attachment theory, he's a neurodevelopmental psychiatrist, Harvard grad. Got to meet him and talk to him in Oxford this last year. That was exciting for me. I like him a lot. He summarizes all of attachment theory as the need to feel seen, safe, and soothed. Seen, curiosity with your partner, someone exploring your needs and desires and experiences and wants, anticipating your needs, seeing you, having curiosity, not just deciding that they already know you and then moving on to other things, but someone who puts energy, underline that, energy into wanting to get to know you, asking questions, exploring your heart. Seen. Safe, someone who operates in a way that puts your regulation, your nervous system at ease. In a romantic relationship, that can be financial. That can be someone who works and earns a certain income to allow for your family, especially if you're depending on them as the primary breadwinner. That can be male or female. So safety financially, safety in action, so that harshness in speech that puts someone on edge so that they're regulating their anger around you, or their nagging, pecking criticism of you. They're regulating that. They can speak to you directly instead of indirect attacks of passive-aggressive criticism and negativity and implications that put your whole system on a threat and make you feel like a failure and you can't do anything right. So that's safety, right? All those are safety. Soothed, reassuring you, encouraging you, speaking well of you, speaking hope and truth, reminding you of who you are when you're feeling down. reminding you of what's true when you're not feeling confident, when you're feeling insecure. Those are normal, soothing gestures in a relationship. That doesn't mean someone's a codependent, immature, yada, yada, yada. I think all of us offer reassurance and kindness and encouragement to our partners in the lows of life when we're feeling uncertain. That's part of life. Yeah. Yeah. Brittany says, when my husband gets angry, I have a hard time finding my peace. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Nikki says, how do I ask for a need when the person has already been triggered and has decided to split? Yeah, I mean, at that point, they might not be the best, most trustworthy place to put that need. That doesn't mean that need shouldn't be met. You might need to call a friend, call a family member, someone you trust, to help regulate you if in the conflict both of you got dysregulated. Not all of our needs are met in our partner all the time. Some of them are, though. That's the point. All right. Yeah, some people in the chat are putting other ideas in there, like other needs. This is interesting. I will add the needs from a PESO. There's 5 basic needs: place, belonging, nurturance, support, protection, limits. Yep, so I would just put all those in broader categories, I guess. So the safety, seen and soothed, I think covers all those. So the belonging is part of feeling seen and safe, you know. But yeah, those are right. We can get more specific in the way that you just listed out. That's good. Seen, safe, soothed. Good. All right. Well, we're all done for today, everybody. Coming up on the last couple minutes. Any last questions before we sign off for today? Oh, this is fun. Someone in the chat on TikTok said, I bought your new book, Gratitude, and I noticed that there's less weight during stressful situations. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, says Y17. I hope you enjoyed it. That's so good. Yeah. Caesar says, my wife said she wants a divorce. Is it possible she's just testing me? I guess it's possible. I would be more inclined to take that seriously. I think sometimes people kind of throw out the big threats when they feel overwhelmed and they're worried about being rejected or abandoned. And so they can throw out verbiage like that first. But that tells me that there's a big sense of dysregulation and disconnection that should be taken. The test isn't if you'll appease her. The test is, will you move towards her? Something like that. What do you think about the 6 human needs from Tony Robbins? I don't know Tony Robbins' needs. Wait, is this the same? Oh, you listed them, Tanner. Certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. I think significance is you need to be significant with at least one person or dog. It's my opinion. I don't think you need to be famous. I don't think you need to have some sort of reputation in the sense of like being well known by lots of people. I think you do need to be significant with at least one person or dog. Okay, I'll leave it for now. Thanks, everybody. Wonderful to see you. I'll be back. I'm doing lives all the time. I'm switching it up, doing lives on relationships and connection leading up to Valentine's Day. I have an event with Jimmy Knowles that is in the books. Keep your eyes peeled for that. You're going to start to hear about that next week. We'll start announcing that. It's going to be a good time if you know that dude. We'll be chatting soon. I care about all of you. We'll talk soon, all right? Bye.